friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a year-end video kind of putting 2021 in the rear view mirror where a lot of us want it and want it to stay. But this year I did discover some makeup that were best ofs for me. Now whether that is high-end or the drugstore, I really wanted to kind of go out of my comfort zone this year and I'm going to continue that a lot into 2022. I feel like, well, this is my first video actually in 2022 filming. It feels great. Kind of cleaned up, a little declutter here in the tiny house. We have our do not disturb hat back to kind of give us some of those clean beachy vibes that I am personally looking forward to in 2022. But don't let that fool you, because behind the scenes here, it's still, I'm kind of slowly taking Christmas and all of the holiday stuff and moving it out. But I am going to have a little announcement for you guys probably in the next week or so about content here on my channel and where I'm excited to try new things. And I want to hear from you guys. What would you like to see more on my channel in 2022? Do you want to see more drugstore, more high-end, a combination of the two? I really want to hear more from you guys on what you want to see here, because I love hanging out here with my friends every single week. It is always a good time. And maybe I should do more honest user reviews on some of these type of products that I'm going to be talking about today, these best ofs for 2021. So there's a lot in here, and we're going to be talking a touch of skincare, but mostly makeup in here, and I'm going to let you know the real of what were the bests and why for me. So grab your tea, grab your snack, grab your water, get comfy, because we have a lot of makeup to talk about for this past year. Cheers! I am on a time crunch today because I have to go get my Christmas nails off and get my New Year's nails going. So I'm going to do my best to not be too chatty, but we both know that's, you know, kind of a feat. That's kind of difficult. So grab your tea, grab your snack. And let's talk about some base makeup. I do like to go in order sometimes when I'm telling you about the things that I do love and enjoy. And just keep noticing I've either used up or want to get again or have purchased again. I don't even know when I originally told you guys I fell in love with this skincare piece, but it had to have been at least 2-3 years ago now. Well, we're in 2022, so it was probably more like 3 years ago now, and I'm so happy that I've started to try more of this line as well. This is the Peach and Lily Glass Refining Serum. I talk about this all the time, nonstop, because I feel like no matter how much skincare I bring into this tiny beauty space, this particular piece of what I call my potion in the morning really sets me up for success. I can always come back to this product for a reset. Even if I've been trying different things, different retinols, different products from other brands, I can always come back to this, and when I use it continually, I notice such a difference in my skin. I feel like it brightens, it makes my skin look like glass. It's kind of that whole filter thing that we've got going on with all of our pictures on Instagram and things like that. It kind of gives you that in-person what's realistic for having glass-like skin. So I do love this, and this year I have definitely tried more of their line, and apparently so has Adam, because I couldn't find some of my stuff for a while. Adam pretty much stole this from me, so I couldn't find it for a little bit. This is the Pure Peach Retinotic Eye Cream from Peach and Lily. I purchased this, I think like in an Ulta 21-day sale or something, and it just disappeared from my beauty space, and I was like, where is it? Okay, well, I'll grab this, you know, and I kept using other things, and I was like, where did I misplace this? And then I found it in our bathroom because Adam had put it on his shelf because he was like, yeah, I really like this. I noticed a difference. So I just kind of moved it. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't care, but tell a girl so I can know where it is to use it myself. So this gives the total Adam approval. He loves it so much, and this is something I'm trying to now reincorporate back into my beauty routine because I couldn't find it for a little bit there. But I do love it, along with Adam's now asking, how do I use this? So I have a feeling this is going to be used up by the both of us soon. This is the Peach and Lily Wild Dew Treatment Essence. It's a drench and rewind. This is not only supposed to be kind of good for helping set up your skin, but it's also really good for also helping fight acne. It's a very pure, kind of like one of their essences that helps the other products do their job. And now he's now put this in his 2022 skincare routine. So I'm excited to see how I get to use these more. I feel like because of all the skincare I did get in 2021, this may have not gotten as much attention as I wanted it to when I purchased this, I think about mid-year. So I'm really excited to use this some more in 2022, but I can tell you when I have used all of these things, I have really enjoyed them. And that's why they're in my best, because I really think the Peach and Lily line is so amazing and I recommend it all the time. Also, to set up my skin for success, not only for the day, but also for long term, I have discovered in 2021 some moisturizers that also have SPF. If you are newer here, you may not know I moved from the Midwest here over here into Florida, where it is the sunshine state. So while I love that vitamin D life for my seasonal depression and things like that, I had to be more mindful of the sun as I was needing more SPFs, more than I maybe thought I did before. The Murad moisturizers with SPF have been great for my sensitive, oily skin because they've not made me break out, and they've also not given me any irritations, and I can wear them under my makeup. I originally got this environmental shield, the Essential C Day Moisturizer with SPF 30. I like this a lot. This is the one you can see I have used quite a bit this year. It's kind of down to the bottom now. And I also purchased this Anti-Aging Moisturizer with SPF as well. This one is newer to my collection, and Adam has been using them as well because he likes to golf on the weekends. And I kept telling him, you know, what SPF are you wearing on your face? What are you doing for this? And he likes that some of these are active, like you can use them and then they'll kind of stay on, but he does have some other ones that he's started to kind of discover for himself since he is more outside and kind of being more sport-like and sweating. But these are great for the blemish-prone skin, and that's what these are aimed for. So I've been loving those to start off my face. Now let's dip into some makeup though, because there are some things in here that I discovered this year, and then there's some things that are things that have been brought with me that I'm like, I trust this so much. You're seeing it again in this video. I'm an oily skin girl with bossy pores, so this year I invested in a very high-end primer, but I got it on a deal, so I got really excited for this. I think in a half off Ulta sale. This is the Murad Hydration Invisiblur primer. I also loved that this had some SPF in it as well, because again, sometimes you need that extra bit on you, or if you maybe kind of started in your routine, you're doing a bunch of other skincare things like I do on my channel a lot to try things from BoxyCharm, other brands. I like that this had some SPF in it if I wasn't using some other things that I like. And a lot of you guys warned me, like, okay, don't use too much of this. A little dab will do ya, but it is great for your skin. It is great to help set up your makeup success. And you were so right. Because I had those warnings from you guys in the beginning of don't use too much or it'll pill up on your skin, I have had nothing but success from this since I have gotten this. I know it is really pricey. I think it's like 65 bucks, and I was able to get it in an Ulta sale. So I do say kind of like wait till you see this sucker on sale, because it is super pricey and I didn't even pay full price for it, because I do have other blurring primers that help my skin out a lot. But I love the combination of everything from this, and the Murad line is so good. It has always worked well for my skin. It's even the skincare I used back in 2016 before I got married, before I even knew much about skincare. I knew that that had really set me up for success for one of the biggest days of my life. You know what I mean? So this is something I would recommend if you can get it on a sale. And if you follow me on Instagram, but if you don't, you can follow me right here. I do let you guys know when stuff is coming on sale that I do love, whether it's from Ulta, Sephora, if I know about it, because sometimes, even if I don't know about it, you guys tell me, and then I can pass that on too. So it's all a fun community of let's save on the best items we can. Speaking of some of the best items, this is something I think I heard Tati talk about like 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago at this point, and I was always on the hunt for this. So I think I bought this for myself last year on my birthday. I think this was a birthday treat for myself, and I have used it so much since my birthday in 2020. This is the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer Base, and this is definitely a putty type primer that fills in those pores. And I don't know if you can tell, but I definitely have a very large dip in this because I use it pretty consistently. This is something that I can just put on my finger and rub into my bossy pores. And for me, my bossy pores live right up front where everyone could see, but also kind of up between the brows, sometimes a little on the chin if I'm a little bit drier. And you can even just see on the hand how, I don't know if it'll pick up on camera, but just how much it will blur and how much it will give you that nice base to have a smooth application of makeup. Whether I was doing a really light makeup day for a very natural, snatchral look, or doing a full beat on my face, which was a little bit more rare the past 2 years, this is something that I think has set me up for success for all of it. The packaging is also really nice and hefty, so I have traveled with this. I actually have my little makeup to go bag right here that I have been kind of using a lot the past few weeks, like over the holidays. We were actually house sitting over the holidays, so it was really nice and convenient to know that this isn't gonna break. It's pretty heavy and substantial, and I could just use it for any type of foundation that I love, because I do kind of mix those up a bit. And girl, if you need a drugstore option, I still swear by my e.l.f. Putty Primer. This is the Universal Sheer one. This is one of my OGs, because I know they have even a wider range of this now, but you can see that I have already hit the bottom on this, and this is something I've also traveled with. It's a really great product that I love for really inexpensive. Do not sleep on the drugstore, because I think you can get just as amazing items there. Some things are absolutely going to be that were my ultimate bests and favorites in my very recent best and worst of BoxyCharm video. I will link that above for you and down below, because that actually has a lot of the things in it that I loved and became ride or dies for this year, simply because I got a lot of BoxyCharm boxes, as a lot of you guys know. So that really came to the forefront for me over 2021 to use as many products as I could to give you guys the deep dive reviews, because you can buy these products in the wild. Even if you don't get a subscription box, those products still live out there on their own, and you want to know if they're quality and if you should invest your dollars. I tried so hard to leave out as many products as I could, but if I have purchased some things on my own, or if they just stood out to me so much that I need to talk about them here, I wanted to give you guys that information as well, because I know some of you guys don't get BoxyCharm, or maybe you're not into subscription boxes, but the products are still quality, and I need you to know those things too. So I tried to limit it, but you can check out that video there. But the foundation that has changed the past 2 years for me is something that I thought was so bougie, but it is now on sale for $22.50 on the company's website and Sephora. This is the Natasha Denona Transformmmate Pore Vanishing Foundation. If you have skin anything like mine, oily, big pored, lot of texture going on, this will absolutely smooth you out. This will set you up for success when you're doing the powders after, when you're doing the highlighters, when you're doing anything after. Your face looks so smooth. It has a beautiful finish for me personally, and it's not too matte, because I have decluttered, even as an oily skin girl with big pores, I have decluttered some seriously over drying, overly matte foundations from my beauty space, because they just don't look good on me with the finished look. This one, I feel like, even though it's matte, it still lets your face look a bit more natural, a bit more approachable, not like you have a face of makeup on. And I think the name matte can really throw some people, because we remember that 2017, 2018 makeup that is just like everything is matte and it looks almost like a mask of makeup. This does not do that, especially if you get the right shade for you. It is so perfect. At least for my personal skin type, I can't rave about it enough. I think this is my third, maybe fourth in totality, but third in 2021. I need to purchase more. I think I want to purchase one in a little bit of a lighter shade, because I have this one, 40N is my 40N light medium neutral is my most of the year shade, and then I have a 45 for a little bit warmer. I think I want to go a little bit cooler, but I'm worried that they're going to run out of this, so I'm talking about it nonstop, it feels like, but I love it. It has truly become the one that has replaced a lot of foundations for me the past year. But a drugstore favorite that I actually just repurchased because I wanted a warmer shade is CoverGirl. I still swear by CoverGirl. I actually have two, maybe three. No, I have three in my beauty space as of this moment, because this is a really great foundation you can get at the drugstore with a gorgeous finish for a lot of different skin types. This is the CoverGirl Olay Simply Ageless Foundation. I recently purchased 245, which is more of a warm beige tone. I also have 220 Creamy Natural and 240 Natural Beige. And sometimes I mix and match to get my perfect shade, because it is a sunshine state, but it has been cooler, so I've been spending less time outside. So I've been trying to just get a better color match, but I do really like this. A lot of times I have been reaching for this. Now that it's a little bit cooler, or if I'm just wanting a little bit less of a full coverage look, these work so darn good. I think I talked about these last year too, because they were my favorite from 2020. And they're just super easy and affordable too. Love that. Okay, I feel like I tried a decent amount of concealers in the front half of the year, and then in the back half of the year, I kind of went back to something that I trusted and loved a lot. So let's talk about some of these concealers, because I am a girl that if I'm wearing a foundation, it is very natural for me to just grab a concealer and immediately do a little bit of the lightening and brightening and a little bit of maybe some spot filling, but mostly just for that under eye moment, you know, where you're kind of just making everything look complete. The Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer is something that I did purchase this year because I fell in love years ago with the actual foundation of the same name, I think. Yeah, Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1. I have the foundation. I've loved it for years. You can get a little shiny midway through the day, but if you need full coverage, girl, this is a drugstore version that will save your face. And then the Longwear Concealer, I feel like everyone was talking about, and I needed to try it for myself after I finally kind of got through some of my previous collection, and it is great. It is a very great concealer if you're needing some high coverage that is either going to be brightening under the eyes or just a little bit more complementary to maybe you've got some dark circles you needed to mask these hard days that we've had these past few years. This is a great concealer for that. And then I wanted to try some e.l.f. concealers, and I thought I loved the e.l.f. Camo 16-hour matte one, but I felt like it was very drying. I also felt like it could age me if I wasn't careful with it and used a really damp sponge. So then I moved into the Hydra Concealer, and I loved that one so much more. I actually don't even have it. I just double checked to make sure I didn't have it anymore because I used it all up because I thought that concealer was the best. But then because I loved that, I wanted to try something else from e.l.f. and I did love this year their Flawless Brightening Corrector Concealer. It's in this pen format where you've got the little pen on the back, and when you take off the lid, it's just like bristled top to it. This was so great in the summer for me because I had a lot more natural makeup going on in the summertime. So what I would do if I just wanted to brighten under here and not have too much makeup on, because some of the other things that I do love, like maybe the Milani or some other stuff I'm going to tell you about, they're a little bit too much high coverage. And I was letting my freckles show a little bit more, you know, I had that natural look going, but I wanted the brightening effects. This is a great brightener because then everything underneath here just kind of like wakens up and makes your face look a little bit more youthful. You look more awake. You're concealing things you need to conceal. Fell in love with this. I think it's like $6. So good. Don't sleep on e.l.f. e.l.f. is so amazing. And then I repurchased towards like the third quarter of the year, something I hadn't had in a long time. The Colourpop No Filter Concealer was something I raved about a lot in like 2019 and maybe 2018 as well. I can't remember that far back right now, but this is a concealer that I thought did a great job for brightening and still really doing a beautiful job under the eyes for concealing. I did kind of get away from this for a while and I repurchased it, and I will say it is still really good, but it's maybe just not my favorite anymore. But it is still a best for me because when I need something I can trust, I will still grab this. It just kind of depends on the type of finish I want or how much coverage I really need. But I feel like this does sometimes show a little bit of my under eye lines that I've always really had because I have an expressive face. And maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe just the coverage of it. I think it does really, really good. It's just kind of moved from my best favorite to being more like middle of the pack maybe, but still super quality and worth mentioning for like, I think used to be $6. Is it still $6 or is it $8 now? I can't remember, but Colourpop's super duper affordable. And now one that I feel like went really up in price because it is super quality, but it's hard for me to want to always pull it out to reach for it because I think it's like $30 for a concealer now, and that's a lot of money for a concealer when you've got so many great things you can get at the drugstore. I think I heard the Milani though is a bit of a dupe for this high-end Too Faced multi-use sculpting concealer. I still really love this. I think it's quality. Mine is in the shade Pearl here, and it's really great for really concealing anything you want. It still has some movement for your face. I'm actually wearing it today with my high-end Natasha Denona kind of more coverage foundation, so I kind of felt like with more coverage foundation, and maybe that's what it is about some of these concealers, I need to match that type of coverage with the concealer, and sometimes the Colourpop does a great job, but maybe isn't as nice to complement the foundation as this one is, or the Milani, because the Milani does a great job. I feel like they are kind of like a little bit of a drugstore dupe for this. Loved a lot this year though. Okay girl, now we're gonna talk about some powders. And you know, as an oily skin girl who lives in the very humid climate of Florida, Powders are my jam. Powders are something that over the past, I feel like maybe 4 years, I've really kind of like started cultivating my love for different types of powders. And I'm always exploring and always on the hunt for something new, but I want to compare it to some of the best things in my collection because I don't want just mediocre if I'm going to have it in this tiny beauty space. It's got to be quality. Maybe this has been in the running for 3-4 years now, that this is the go-to powder for under my eyes that competes with a bunch of high-end lines, because this is a drugstore baby that you've seen me use a zillion trillion times. Say hello to the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance Powder. There's a lot of pan on this, and this is probably compact number 3 or 4 for me for the year. Maybe, I don't know, 72 in the entire lifetime of me buying these, because this is a perfect creamy compact for on the go, but also in the mornings to go under the eyes. After you put down your concealer, use this to set it, and then there's so less movement. And I don't know how else to word that. There's so much less bunching. It doesn't look reptilian or crepey under here. It is such a creamy powder that I use it under the eyes, down the nose, on the lids, and up between the eyebrows, just to kind of like start the powder down moment before I go into any other powders. Like, this is my true ride or die, and I was shocked that this year I feel like I had a competition piece for this, because you've heard me talk about this for years. Like, I was like, how am I ever going to replace this? And then I met someone. I met another powder, but it's in the same family, so I feel like I'm not cheating on anybody. I need to get another one because there's so much pan on this. But this is the CoverGirl Instant Wrinkle Blurring Powder that came out, and it was crazy pricey, like $17 at the drugstore, and I was like, stop it. That's crazy. And I think I could find it on Amazon cheaper for like $12, so I need to buy another one soon. But I found with this, oh my gosh, look how much pan is on there. I need to do a pan video for 2021 too, I know. I have only like the rim around here left, and I'm scraping the sides of it when I do, but I prefer to use this not with the little compact little pad it comes with. No. I like a brush with this. More of one of those stippling brushes, because when this powder says it blurs you, it's not messing around. It like really blurs you. And I recently heard Tarte talk about this in her worst category. And I almost just wish I knew her so I could message her and be like, listen, it can be too much if you use it with the little pad. And it sounds like she was on the hunt for this because that's what she loves too. And so it's not the same, because this is so much more. It depends on the type of makeup you were wearing that day. There's a lot of factors. But if you use this with more of a stipple brush where the fibers, like this is a fiber stipple brush where at the end here, it's a lot looser, and it's definitely got these bristles that are going to push the product into your skin, but then you can swipe so it looks a little bit more blurred. And because this is a blurring powder, this does such a great job with one of these type of brushes under here, and it helps with these pores. But that's where my pores live. Maybe that's not where Tati's pores live that are bossy. I don't know. But I just wanted to message her, girl, try again, but try it like this, try it like that. How did you use it? Let's talk this through. Because this became something that I wouldn't shut up about like the first half of this year, and I need to get another one. I've been trying other powders in this like third and fourth quarter of the year, but I still love this. I've still been reaching for it from time to time. I just need to buy another one. I've used up so much of this year. I had a couple new contenders in my beauty space this year, and they're higher end than CoverGirl, so I didn't feel too bad since I knew I loved some stuff from the drugstore that I wanted to try some higher end things. And there's one thing in here that I have talked about in my BoxyCharm Bests of. I've talked about it a lot throughout 2021, so if you watch my videos regularly, you will not be shocked. But then I did get another higher end, even higher end powder that I'm going to tell you about too. And I think they're kind of dupes for each other, just in different ways, like different styles of powder. Let's talk about it. The Fenty Pro Filter Cashew Powder. Well, it's in the shade Cashew, but a lot of you guys were recently telling me your favorite, because I do want to get a little bit of a lighter tone in this, is a go-to for me. And when I say go-to, I mean every single morning. I am putting on this very finely milled powder with a nice dome-shaped brush, because after I do my powder under the eyes, down the nose, all the stuff with the compact, I then go in with a Baddington brush, and I put this all over my face. This kind of has a nice color to it too, so it'll kind of warm me up just a touch, because right now I'm a little pale. I'm like, I can use this anywhere and it blurs. It makes your skin look gorgeous. It makes your skin look flawless. I have a backup of this when I'm not a backup girl because I don't have a lot of storage. This stuff is so good. High quality. I talk about it all the time. I talked about it in my Best and Worst for Boxy, so I won't harp on it too much. But this I use every time I wear makeup. Every time. And if I'm not, because I'm trying something else, I miss it. I do. I miss it. I love it. I don't like a lot from Fenty, honestly. Fenty and I, we're okay. Like, there's a few things that we like to hang out with, but we're not, like, seeing each other on the weekends every weekend kind of thing. I did ask for some high-end bougie makeup this year for my birthday and for Christmas. So these next few pieces, well, there's a couple pieces in here that are newer to my collection. And this is a newer piece that I'm still working with, and I can't wait to see how it does for me in the spring, too, as it gets warmer here. But right now, I think this extremely high-end compact powder does the same things for me that this Fenty one does, only the Fenty one is a loose powder. This other high-end one is a compact. So this loose powder is more forgiving in some ways because it'll move with your skin because it's a loose powder, whereas this one, you kind of have to press a bit more. This is the really, really pricey Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder No Powder. If you love Samantha March like I do, you have heard about this powder. You've heard about it a lot. And I finally asked for it for my birthday because I was like, what is something that I want to try, but I just can't bring myself to get for myself? So Adam got me this for my birthday. I got 3 neutral. It is a bit warmer and it kind of oxidizes. 2 might be a great winter shade, so I thought about maybe getting that one, but again, this is a really pricey powder. I think it's like 40 bucks for powder, and I just have a hard time with that because Drugstore, I have so many great things. And I have Fenty, so I would say I like how this makes my skin look. I did get it as it was starting to get much cooler here, and the humidity was kind of getting sucked out of the air, and when you live in Florida where there's so much humidity, your skin has a reaction time for a while. So I'm really curious as the humidity comes back how my skin reacts to this. So I'm saying this is in the best category because this is quality. She's so right. It reminds me so much of my Fenty powder that I use nonstop. I've actually used this so much already that the imprints are gone to show you I do like this. I have been reaching for it. But I think it might be so similar to this, at least as of this moment, that I can't justify buying another because I love this so much. And I maybe just want one of this in another color, you know? So if you do have the Fenty powder, you may not need this Dior powder. I mean, that's just my personal thoughts at this moment of where I'm at in my makeup journey with this, because it is really good. But I think it does the same finish and the same thing for my skin that my Fenty powder does. Both great, both great. Also, this I think you get a lot more products. I've been working on this since January, and I just got this. I know Samantha March has already gone through a couple of these, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But both really great, super high-end and bougie. All right, I got to kick it back for you a little bit. I got to take you back to some old school boxy charm. Back when it was like 2017, and it was still an up-and-coming box, and not everybody had it, and there was no PR and things. I got a blush from them that I still have in my collection, and a lot of you guys told me you still have it in your collection too, because it has become that color that you can't figure out how to replicate because it's so good. You've not found it anywhere else. And I'm not even a blush lover. I'm not a loose blush powder lover either, and this is both, and I have been using it every time I've needed a blush, probably September, October, November, December. This is the Studio Makeup On The Go Luminous Loose Blush. Who still has this? Who knows what I'm even talking about? This sucker is pretty old. I don't know. It's got a 12-month lifespan according to it, but I mean, it's powder. Come on. This is a shade that I love. I use it all the time. I'm scared to kind of tip this over, so I'm just going to swatch it a little bit so I don't want it all over my beauty space. But it's this nice terracotta, I would say, brown-toned, coral-toned blush that works really well for my skin tone, and it doesn't seem to overwhelm, and it complements bronzers. That's the type of blush I personally enjoy. I'm wearing it today. This is the blush I've been wearing a lot of times, no matter what time of year it is, because it is beautiful. It's not that luminous, as you can see. I'm even trying to get a little closer to the camera to show you. It's not even that luminous. It's just complementary. I feel like it's got a very natural finish to it. I did layer it up there a lot to make sure you could see it on camera, so it can be a lot lighter. You would be obviously be using it with a more fluffy brush to kind of diffuse it on the cheeks. It's what I got going today. Also, I know this says best and worst, but this is just going to be the best of beauty because these are already going to be really long, so I've got a lot of great things to tell you guys about. Another blush that I discovered, I want to say in the beginning of summer, maybe in the middle of spring, was something from NYX. I was really wanting to discover more drugstore favorites, and I can definitely tell the color I chose is pretty similar to this shade here, because I do have a type when it comes to blushes, and this is the NYX Sweet Cheeks blush in the shade Summer Breeze. This became my go-to blush a lot, pretty much from spring into summer. You could pile this sucker on, you could do it very lightly. Again, oh man, yeah, it's definitely in the same family of like the coral brown undertones to it. It is a matte one though, because I did find that I was using some bronzers this year that had a lot of illumination to them, so I didn't need my blush to be illuminating as well. With an oily skin base here and some bossy pores, sometimes that just does not compute, especially on camera. So I was looking for more matte things to really complement my skin, to have a nice finish to them, you know? So this was something I fell in love with this year. Love, love, love. Let's get into some bronzers here, because there's going to be at least one that you're not shocked by. But I did ask for something really bougie for Christmas, and Adam got it for me, probably not even knowing what it was, but I've never owned this brand before, and it is so luxe that I'm still kind of figuring the whole thing out. But first, let's talk about the bronzer in the room that I didn't shut up about for a majority of like 2 years. I've hit so much pan on it, and one of you guys sent me a brand new one for just like, I don't know, a birthday present, a thank you present. I don't even remember what it was for, but I'm so appreciative because it is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold Soleil bronzer. Look at how much pan is on there. It is crazy how much pan is on here. And this seems to be on and off the websites for Too Faced and Ulta and Sephora. It seems like they only have the minis a lot of times. There are times we can find the full version, like every now and again. I think for a while there we were even hunting it down on like Amazon, and they only had like 4 in stock. So I have a true concern that this is also going to be going away. I'm scared that some of my favorites are just like disappearing, because that's just how 2020 and 2021 were playing out, right? In life in general. But like my favorite foundation, the Natasha Denona foundation, like they cut the price. It makes me go, are you trying to get rid of it? It was also in a subscription box. Does that mean you're getting rid of it? This is something I discovered in a subscription box as well. BoxyCharm. But I do have another one now in my collection, and I got this I think over a year ago, so I feel like it's absolutely worth mentioning that I have hit pan on this even more. I'm kind of down to the rim. I love this, and as an oily skin, bossy pored girl, people are gonna be like, why would you like a bronzer that is so shimmery? Because it has a gorgeous finish to it that complements. It makes your skin look like a healthy glow. It gives you that like summer glow all year round, and you can lightly apply some, or you can really build it up if it is summertime. That's probably how I hit so much pan on it. It also looks gorgeous on like the shoulders, the collarbones, all the things. Love this bronzer. This is still one of my major go-tos that I love, and I did purchase because I loved this, the matte version as well. This is the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. That is the matte version of this, and this you can always find on all the websites. I feel like that's always available. I do like this a lot, and I ended up finding myself reaching for this when I was wanting less shimmer this year overall on my face. If I was just wanting a very natural look, this is something else I would go to, and I'd even use this as a slight contour as well, sometimes on the cheekbones, down the nose, whatever I needed. This is a really great formula as well. I actually used it enough that the matte, the imprint on it has come away a little bit. Obviously, this was the main one I was using, but this one I found myself really going into quite a bit this year over even some of my other bronzers. And since I do have a really hefty collection of bronzers, I was surprised at how much I was like, oh, this formula, the way it blends on my skin, the way it complements my skin tone, the way it works with other products. It's still really good. I've liked both of these bronzers a lot from Too Faced, and I feel like I don't hear at all about Too Faced anymore. So these were the two things that I still do love from them. Like I had even recently bought one of my favorite No. 7 bronzers that's kind of, I think I've been told, a dupe for some Charlotte Tilbury, and I still really would love these even though this is my second one. You may hear Cooper going upstairs now. So before I get into a little bit more of the face products that I purchased this year, like highlighters, because I'm going to have a little moment there, I do have to tell you what I got for Christmas. I have really wanted to try Charlotte Tilbury for a while. That brand just seems like she is so fancy. She's so elevated. And like I said, I thought having Dior in my beauty space was like, oh my gosh moment. So for Christmas, I did ask for one of the mini palettes that I think were on special from Charlotte Tilbury, and it is kind of this smaller Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. And I was also curious, since so many people had told me one of my other favorite bronzers, the number 7 bronzer, was very similar to the formula for Charlotte. I was like, well, how am I ever gonna know for myself if I don't try? So I think this tiny little palette that I got for Christmas was like $25, and it's got a bronzer and a highlighter in it. I have them both on today, and so far I have to tell you the formula is super blendable. The formula is very smooth. It does not add texture to the skin. Like I said, I think I got this for 25 bucks. It was probably a limited edition type thing for Christmas. I'm not sure, but if I can, I'll link it below for you. The highlighter is the only glow I am wearing today, and I'm about to tell you about a lot of glow products that I love for 2021. So just know, if I'm talking about it now, even though it's so new in my collection, it's because I'm already seeing how on my textured, oily, pore skin, this is really flowing nicely as far as being a creamy product. All of the highlight on my skin is not too overwhelming. It's just that nice subtle glow, and in person it does just have that nice pop to it, but it is not overpowering and you don't see texture at all. It is a really nice little powder compact that I'm so excited to discover more of in 2022. One more thing, and before I get into the highlighters, is an old standby for me that I have loved since like 2017, and now I do have a backup in my beauty space thanks to one of you. This is the no longer sold Tarte Park Avenue Princess Chisel palette, and I have hit even more pan since the last time I've presented this on camera. I feel like contouring isn't what it used to be back in, 2017 when this sucker came out, but I still really enjoy this even as like an assist piece. I don't always do like the serious contouring anymore either, but I do like to use it sometimes on the nose, certain areas, maybe just to kind of like bronze up something because it's a nice matte formula. These two powders over here are stunning. Love them for under the eye no matter what's going on. I think it's a great formula, beautiful and creamy in blends. I've hit so much more pan on it. I am gonna have to do a pan video for you guys, I think. There's even stuff in here that isn't in this video that I've hit pan on. 2021 was a rough year for a lot of us for a lot of different reasons, but it's also the year that Becca decided that they could no longer keep their doors open. The pandemic was too much for them and they were closing down. So, like any true makeup lover, I stayed up late and waited for sales, kind of bought things off BoxyCharm, and I added so much Becca highlighter to my collection because I was so scared I was never going to get it again. And I know what some of you are already thinking. Well, the good news, Nicole, is that Smashbox purchased that formula. Here's the thing. They only purchased the formula to the Champagne Pop, which was their standout piece that I feel like put them on the map back in the day with Jaclyn Hill, the whole thing. Trying to see where my OG one is that made me fall in love with this. This is my original Champagne Pop highlighter that has so much pan on it that I only got, I mean, maybe in the past year and a half at this point, I can't remember, but in the first year that I owned it, I hit pan on it and it was substantial pan. And being such a highlighter that it does have a little bit of bling to it, it does have its moment, it was almost like, how did you hit that much pan on it without even trying? It's just that good. It blends, it blurs, it does not emphasize texture, and as someone who out her entire life has had skin that can look really unattractive when you add a blingy highlighter to it, when you find something that works for you, you just sing it from the mountaintops, and you want it in your collection and you don't want it to go away. Thank goodness there are other brands out there now that have really stepped up their highlighter game. But highlighter was always the thing that was so hard for people with texture or bigger pores, not young 20-year-old skin, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really grateful other brands have stepped up their game too, but I just loved certain shades from them so much that I didn't I didn't want to lose them. So this was my original one. And of course, when I found out they were going out of business, I did purchase more. I purchased Moonstone here, which is very pale, but gorgeous. And she's also gorgeous on the eyes as well. It's so creamy. The reflection is gorgeous. Opal has become one of my true blue favorites. Love, love, love so much. It's like this chocolatey yet icy, gorgeous highlighter that is just so yummy. I feel like if you don't have this, I'm doing a terrible thing by showing you all these swatches now. Prosecco Pop was the other one that was a little too warm toned for some people, but in the summer, it's got this golden tone to it that I think looks gorgeous either on the face or on the eyes. Stunning. And then I found at like a TJ Maxx or a Ross the Dreamsicle, and I actually loved this a lot through the summer. It's probably got a little bit more of an orange coppery tone to it than people would think, but it's so good. And the formula is just the same. I'm like going in between all these other swatches. I'll just put it right here between the two blushes. And it's just, whew, how you doing? I wore that one a ton in the summer with kind of a fluffy brush, kind of diffuse it all up along the cheekbone. It was like I had more of a golden glow than I even did. The Shimmering Skin Perfector is really what this line is called. I call them the highlighters. That's how a lot of people know them to be. But you can still get these around. And like I said, the Champagne Pop is with Smashbox. But I added so many of these. I don't want to break any to my collection. They're obviously a best, and this isn't even all of them because I did end up getting one of their collector's edition anniversary box sets for the Champagne Pop from BoxyCharm in one of their last pop-ups, drop-offs, whatever the heck they're called in the summertime. It's one of the last times I was able to get one, and I love it so much. It's one of my favorite highlighters. So I have like 6, 7 of these little UFO looking highlighter things, but they're so good. And the formula is something that I don't think I'm going to regret having extras of, and I need to organize these all back over here. I remember when that highlighter and that just having that compact was like the epitome of like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because the formula, the packaging, all of it was just considered such a luxe it thing moment. You know, it was like the it product of the moment. Okay, did I cover all the face powders that I have not shut up about? I feel like this video is going to be so long, but you guys already knew it was my video. It was going to happen. I think we need to do a little bit of brows before we get into some of the other eye pieces that I have loved this year. And they're not all eyeshadow palettes, which totally shocks me. And some things I literally have not thrown out, and I'm literally scraping the sides for to use it on my eyes today. So let's talk about brows really quickly. I did talk about brows pretty significantly in my best and worst of BoxyCharm as well, so please be sure to check that out if you have not. But I've hit so much pan on something I've had since, like, I don't know, was it 2020 I got these, and now I have been like adding to my collection from this brand, and it's kind of messy. This is the Brow Bar by Rima True Glam Brow Makeover Kit in the shade Dark. I have so much pan on this, like so much pan. I have used this a lot, not only for brows, but also kind of like when I'm doing touch-ups in between hair colors. I feel like this is such a great formula to really be able to get into all kinds of nooks and crevices. It is stunning to stay all day for a bold or natural brow look in my mind. As you can see, the powders are really where my heart goes because that is what I have hit so much darn pan on. And I also really love their Bombshell Kit because this has a little bit of everything in it. It's got a pencil, it's got powders, it's got creams, it's got highlighters, it's got tweezers, it's got everything. And I love the color matching for my brows because it kind of gives me that depth that I need for my darker hair. It's some of my favorites. And my brow needs to be set with the powder, I feel like, for things to last and to kind of just even look good on camera, because as the light shifts as I film, because I do talk a lot, so the light will shift outside. I film in front of natural lighting. It is something that really helps it to not look gray toned or get washed out. I also repurchased the e.l.f. brow, like the micro brow pencil, a few times this year, so I think this is worth mentioning as well. However, I will say some of my favorite, ultimate favorite brow micro pencils are talked about in my best and worst video because they came from them only from BoxyCharm, and I loved them so much. So I do have quite a bit in my collection, but really the better ones for as far as micro pencils go are in the best and worst of BoxyCharm, just so you know. I had to show Colourpop some love this year because Colourpop is a brand that I love their eyeshadows. I actually thought about decluttering some of their older eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, and I went to go like try them a couple of days before I made any commitment to declutters, and then I just rediscovered how much I even loved the older palettes I have in my collection because they're still so quality. Even though I got them in like 2017, 2018, they are still the standard high great shadow that lasts and blends and does all the things you want a good shadow to do at an inexpensive cost. And some of those palettes you can't buy anymore. So I was really glad I took the time to not only do the investigating in my own declutters, like what's still quality, but then I was like, I need to go buy some more. So this year I kind of stuck with my natural nude mood feel and got the nude mood palette along with a vibrant colorful one too. But this is the one that I have so much dip in the colors on with these pans, and I love this. This is a nude obviously palette, but it's got some warm base tones to it that I really love. Because while I do feel like I've got a large variety of some neutrals, it's kind of nice to have some deeper warm tones to it. I'm also still eyeballing the Going Coconuts palette that Andrea Mattiliano talks about all the time. I'm still thinking about that one because I don't think it's as warm toned as this, so I can kind of mix and match. Along with something that I almost didn't talk about in this video because I did get it in Boxy. I did talk about it in that Boxy video, but I know a lot of people don't get BoxyCharm anymore, so maybe you won't see that whole video or see that video at all. So I do want you to know, as much as I didn't like a lot from Wander Beauty, their eyeshadow palette, it's actually a face palette. Their Getaway palette, it's an eye and face palette. I've hit so much pan on this year. I love it a lot. So I really briefly wanted to mention how much this highlighter is gorgeous on the lids, and these shadows are, there's nothing even in there, are so quality. I love them so much, and I need another one, truly, because I've hit so much pan in one of my favorite shades. The formula totally shocked me on this palette, and I couldn't not mention it in a best of because this is something I've reached for since February, to the point I'm missing a whole shadow. A whole shadow! That hasn't happened in I don't know how long with an eyeshadow palette for me. So I had to mention this in a best. I had to, you understand. I don't want to be too redundant though. But this palette I talked about mid-year as well. It's a super luxe brand, and it's something that I just really didn't ever anticipate I was going to enjoy. Even when I first got it, I didn't see the hype until I figured out how to work with these shadows better. And now this is something, like, I started my eye look today with it. I've done some really bold looks with this throughout the year, but I've also done some very natural looks that still look stunning. The packaging never would make you think this is a luxurious brand, but this is the Viziart palette. This is their neutral matte eyeshadow palette, and this has made me actually want some of their other versions because this seems some of these feel really warm toned and then some of these feel really cool toned. So I like having that combination, and then I can always pull out another palette if I'm needing a different base tone or something to go with the look I'm going with or my skin tone for that season. But I really like these shadows. Not only do they blend well with each other, they don't get muddy at all. Like, you can definitely layer some of these paler colors and then add some varying colors to just kind of start the crease look. Like, I have so many different shades right now in my crease. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they all complement each other. They don't get muddy, they blend nicely, and then you can really get creative and almost have a little bit of artistry with something that looks so basic, but it really is such a great formula. I needed some time to play with it to understand it better, and now I really like the Viziart shadows. I do. And some things that really stood out to me this year that were not palettes are things that I have back and forth moments with. A lot of times I don't like liquid shadows at all, like at all. And today, in order to get any shimmer on my lids, and I still know that it could do better because I need to get a new one, I'm out of it. It's dry because I've used it up so much that I'm scraping the sides of this Stila, what is this one? A Glitter and Glow shimmer. And this one is in the shade Smoldering Satin. It's that chocolatey dancing light color that is on my lids today. This formula covers so beautifully. It doesn't bunch up, it doesn't do a lot of things, but now that it's on its like last leg of its life, it is kind of doing a little bit less of a pull for me because there's not enough pigment in here. And I actually have 2 others, but this one was my ultimate favorite, and I'm thinking I may have to get rid of some of this too. But this is the one that I'm at the end of its life with because I have been wearing it a lot for a super easy look, and it just makes you look like you tried when you didn't. It's so good. And I know these are kind of old school, but I fell in love with them last year and used them up through 2021. Also, we gotta give some moments to the Super Shock shadows from Colourpop. I ended up reinvesting in some of them this year. I feel like last year maybe I didn't do them as much because it kind of felt too shimmery and glittery when it came to these, but I did fall in love with some of these. I am still on the hunt for them to go back to some of their pearl finishes too, because this is an oldie that even some Colourpop like Instagram accounts are really having a hard time finding a dupe for, because nobody really does that pearl finish anymore. But this is their Super Shock shadow in Going Rogue. It's one of my ultimate favorites, and I keep adding like little liquids to it just to keep this one going. This one is one of my favorites, but you can't purchase it anymore, so I'm not going to hold it up to the screen, but it's something that I used on my lids a ton. Also, this one is newer. This one is the shade Pledge Class. This is one of their newer ones I got this year. Super buttery and creamy. And the formula is so nice. This hand is so swatched up. You're not going to know what's what, but just trust me. I was going back into a lot of those this year just because they pull so nicely across the lid. They last. They make that little like dance on your lids that looks like a little something special. And they're like $6. They're so inexpensive. I love that about Colourpop. Realizing the time, so I need to keep moving, and I need to talk about some mascaras, because while yes, I did go back and purchase some of my OG favorites that I hadn't had for a long time, like this Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. One of my favorites, actually the curl one, shocked me this year, and I love that one even more. It's in the pink tube. Love that a lot. I'm in the middle of trying 2 new mascaras, and I wasn't even going to mention them except for the fact I feel like these 2 are interchangeable almost for each other, and I love them both equally. And one of them's like $22 high end, and this one is Essence Drugstore, so I needed to mention them because I feel like mascaras are something that you can get really good ones or really like wasteful ones that are just wasting your money. The newer Curl in Volume from Essence is amazing, and I think this is a great combination of all of the things I love from the Essence line. But I got this at Ulta on my birthday, I think this year, because one of the girls that was working the floor, she was like, okay, this is what I'm wearing on my lashes. I think you'll really like this. And they were bold, gorgeous lashes with no falsies. This is the Pure On Point Mascara, and I am wearing some falsies right this second. But I can tell you, I feel like these 2 are very similar as far as the finished look goes. I do like a wand with a little bit more fluff to it so I can really build up my lashes, because I do have a decent lash and they are pretty long. I will say I feel like these do kind of fall just a bit, so I'm really curious to see how when this one thickens up just a little bit more, because I opened this one later, if this one's going to be even better than the high end. But they're both shocking me. I think they're both really nice and I like them quite a bit. For lippies this year, obviously I love a good nude moment, but for some color and things like that, I've always really enjoyed some of the Ofra long lasting liquid lipsticks. Miami Fever is one of my favorites I've had for a long time. I think I've bought this one twice. That's the colorful one that I will pull out from time to time, but then I got some of their nude sets this year and I love those too. I've reached for those a lot, but what really shocked me, and I did talk about this in BoxyCharm, but in case you missed that video, the Huda Demi Mattes are what I'm wearing today and what I have been wearing a ton, because this is even more approachable for your lips for being something that lasts and is matte-ish, but not totally matte. And it's so comfortable to wear. It's got a beautiful opaqueness that covers the lips. I just love it. I bought a second one on my own after getting the first one in Day Slayer, a really nice shade. This one here is She-E-O, and it reminds me a lot of Beeper from Colourpop. It's got a lot of warmth to it, a little bit of berry, a little bit of purple tone, and it is really stunning on the lips. It lasts a long time. It's not totally drink proof, as you can see here on my glass with water in it, but at the same time it doesn't dry them out. It allows you to have some movement with your lips, but if you have to wear a mask to run in and out of somewhere, you're still going to keep your lipstick on, which is so nice. I went out and found this gloss this year because I got it from a subscription box. I can't even remember which one now, like a year, 2 years ago. And then I found it on Mercari, and I love the Lartsy Vibe lip gloss. I fell in love with this so much that I had to hunt it down, but it's so pricey on their actual website, and I like a deal. So I got it off Mercari. Not sorry. I think this is a gorgeous look that juices up the lips. It's not one of those goopy glosses, and it's also not one that moves around. It stays put really nicely. I love the consistency of this. Speaking of lip products, I had to buy 2 other backups of this, and this one's about done. Of the Saffrine Botanicals Apple and Balm. I also have a Hibiscus and Balm that I bought off of Amazon, and this is kind of like a jelly, nice lip mask for the evenings in the winter time. I love this. Adam steals it all the time. I actually found my backup one that I thought I lost in one of his work bags, and I was like, well, how did you get this in here? He goes, I don't know, you must have put it there. I'm like, I didn't put it there. I did not put it there. You know I didn't. And something else that we both like, even though it's kind of feminine, and I totally ragged on this product like a year ago because I thought it looked too juvenile. I've bought this so many times since I got this. This is the Sugar Rush Best Bud Lip Butter in Peony. This stuff is so good for wintertime, hydrating your lips, giving your lips some moisture, and making it so you don't have like just dried out lips all night long that goes into the next day. I love this. Adam loves this. He's even kept it in his pocket at work. He didn't care that it had a little flower on it. He didn't care. And I know this video is really long, but I'm going to tell you one other thing that I love to do overnight for my skin to set up all of this stuff for success for the next day. It is a Glow Recipe mask. This is the Avocado Overnight Sleeping Mask from Glow Recipe. I love this. This is literally down to nothing because Adam's been having his hands in it too, and I do have a backup because it is that darn good for your skin. It helps your skin look healthy. It makes your skin look brighter, even toned. It gives you that little bit of hydration in the winter time. It has never broken me out, and I'm sensitive. It has never given me any of those red patchiness that I can get sometimes because my skin is sensitive. None of it. Love this so much. Okay guys, this was a lot of products to go through. I hope I grabbed everything that I meant to talk about. But tell me some of your best ofs for 2021, because sometimes, you know, you guys influence other people's purchases here in the comments, or you guys help each other out. I love to know, and please let me know what kind of videos you do want to see from me going forward in 2022. I am going to have a little announcement coming up for you guys in a week or so about some content that I'm excited for going forward on my channel too. So thank you so much for watching, and if you do happen to be new and you stayed to the end of this long video, you are the real MVP here. Hi new friends, I really hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on all of the videos coming up, because 2022 is going to be a banger year for us, and I just know it. Bye friends!